got any of those movies, man? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're reviewing Cherry, starring Tom Holland on Apple TV. So Cherry is based on the autobiographical story by the same title, which tells the story of a pretty good student who decides to join the army and with PTSD becomes a serious heroin addict and a bank robber to sustain his addiction. So straight out of the gates, it's filmed really nicely. It's a very stylistic movie. There's a lot of colours going on. Depending on what drug is involved in each scene, the colours change from blood reds to black and whites to lots of different, almost rainbow effect, I would say at times. It's nice to see the Russo brothers doing something a little bit different. It's also nice to see Tom Holland not being typecasted as a dweeby high schooler, although that is part of the role here. But as much as I did enjoy the movie, there are a lot of problems with this film as well. And they're avoidable problems. That's what really annoys me about this film. I didn't connect with either of the characters. I thought both characters were extremely childish, extremely immature. Their decision-making was dramatic, to say the least, when it didn't need to be. The girl, I believe her character name was Emily, she's really unlikable because she's very self-centered. She makes decisions on the whim without any evidence or actual logic behind them, and she just expects people to just go along with these plans, then has a tantrum if you don't go along with these plans. Then she changes her mind about her own plans, and then she has a tantrum because you don't like that she's changed her mind about her plans. It's like, all of this drama is literally just, you. Stop. There's a moment where she comes to say goodbye to Tom Holland and she turns up with another guy. What does Tom Holland see in this girl? Seriously, because if this was me, as soon as she pulled that on me, I'd be like, bullet dodged. I'm really glad I did not continue to chase her down. Look how petty and childish she is. Like, she can't even say goodbye to me as a decent human being. She has to do something to gloat and rub it in my face. This girl is not worth the trouble. This whole terrible life that this dude goes on to live, avoidable if he had, half a pinch of common sense and realised there's millions of other girls in the world that are actually nice, normal and sane and, aren't going to keep you hanging on wires every minute. There's lots of unnecessary shots in the movie. There's a scene where Tom Holland is masturbating in a toilet. Goes on for a solid minute. We even get to see what he's imagining about his girlfriend back home, and it's just like, why do we need this? Could this not have been implied by chance? Why does this need to be visually exercised onto the screen? I don't want to pay to watch a movie of Tom Holland wanking, quite frankly. There's also another shot where you look inside of Tom Holland's arsehole. It's obviously not his actual arsehole, it's obviously some sort of gooey prosthetic that was made and wrapped around the lens of the camera. But just why? Why are we doing that? Why are we spending money and time and effort on that? To be a fly on the wall on the set that day would have been hugely confusing, I would have thought. It just seems like someone should have stepped in at some point and said, is this really what we need to do? Because I don't think we do. And it's just filler, actually, and it's bad filler. It has a really hard time of balancing its style and its substance. It often goes way too heavy with the style, and then it doesn't even continue to stay with the style. Things like the colour palette, it'll get really dull, actually, towards the end of the movie. It doesn't really continue the path that it started on. And because it's so style-heavy, anything that's actually of importance in a narrative for you is just chucked at you in some form of exposition. There's a moment where Tom Holland needs to get into a safe. So he calls his friend round to help him, and he makes the point of letting you know through narration that his friend used to work in a locksmith's. Again, did we need to know that? Why is that actually relevant? He still doesn't get into the safe. He's not some sort of code breaker. If you wanted to make that point, you saw him earlier in the film. Could he not have been wearing a locksmith's uniform? You don't need to spoon feed your audiences like that. That's really insulting, actually, to a degree, to write like that. It's a bit 1 + 1 is 2. And it does it all the way through the movie. It's really on the nose. You can't miss the point with this movie because it literally goes, that's the point. You can't escape me. That's what it does with the point, and it's just sort of like, we get it. The ending is bizarre. I don't get what they were going for. My initial instinct was, because it seems to be suggesting a positive message about something that's really, really, really don't ever do that. And they're sort of suggesting that by doing that, it's some sort of heavenly bliss. And I don't actually get what they're trying to say. And if they are saying what I think they're saying, then it's a horrible thing to say. It's very strange decisions made throughout this movie. Ultimately, though, it did hold my attention. I was intrigued. I did want to see where it was going. So it is enjoyable, but I would never go back and rewatch it. I really wouldn't. It's one of those films, like, initially you'd be like, yeah, it's great, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And then, I mean, I watched it last night and it's been 24 hours. And in 24 hours, I'm sort of like, was it that good? It was okay. I'm going to give Cherry a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching this review. If you could leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.